Hi everyone. I have another tutorial for you on this channel for Stable Diffusion. I've been experimenting with it quite a while, and 2 weeks ago actually we did a workshop at the university testing some of these tools that we have been developing, and the results are quite interesting because you can now directly integrate Stable Diffusion and prompt-based image generation into grasshopper workflows. So there are so many different extensions of this or potential applications, but I'm going to be showing some examples on this channel. So if you're interested in this type of cover, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps a lot to support it. And over the past few weeks, I've covered some examples on how to develop some images from a parametric model that could be directly input into Stable Diffusion. And for this one, I'm going to do something a bit more different and see if we can generate some architectural drawings using kind of preliminary sketchy segmentation. And for this one, you can actually make a sample file like this. I'll just walk you through what I've tried to do. This is kind of a square region that I'm going to use as a view capture image, and inside of it I placed some hatches, so you can actually we can actually go ahead and make another one so that you can see. This has to be I'm afraid in square because the tool that we are working with is using 1:1 aspect ratio, and it is 512 by 512 pixels. But that doesn't matter on how big you want this image to be. Actually, we will capture the region for the resolution. And inside of it, you can actually do a lot of cool things. For instance, what I did was I placed a hatch here. And since most of the architectural drawings are black and white, I made this in green, and you can actually make a secondary layer, and you can start sketching some boundaries. Let's say these are going to be spaces for an architectural plan drawing. So I'm going to make it like this. They might actually be separate structures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let's take out the central snapping. I'm going to make another region here, and I'm going to trim these regions so that we can join them. It might be harder to see, but okay, so let's actually do it this way. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to hatch these. All right, let's do another trim. I'll have to do some cleanup and join this and hatch it. So this would be, I'm trying to build an image that is like figure ground, basically. Then it gets pretty interesting. So what I've done is I'm going to show you some example of how to make this parametrically. But before doing that, I want to cover some of the workflow that I'm going to show. So let's see, we want this to be send backward. All right, and you can basically develop kind of a visual hierarchy of layers if they're on the same coordinate plane, and you need to basically export this as an image. So I'm working with a folder structure here. I'll just show you what it is. So it's named as tower, but it could be something else. Basically, we will have an input image that we're going to override, and we're going to have a generated image with certain styles, and we're also going to be able to archive these images. So I'm going to choose this bounded region here, and what that will do is it will basically output a snapshot of that area when I press this button into that folder. So when I press this, you will see that that image is actually import it here because this is simultaneously updating. And if you go back here, it's also updated here. So the next step is basically to run some prompts to change the visual appearance of this drawing, and play around with some of these properties here. So I'm running the maximum inference for Stable Diffusion, which is 100. Guidance and strength basically control how much influence you want the image and how much influence you want the prompt to have. So the strength of this input image, let's actually bump it up a bit more to 0.7, and I want the prompt to be as influential as possible, so I'm going to keep it at 16. And let's try the floor plan of the residential building, and I'm going to replace red and green, but I also input grid because sometimes it gives kind of a patterned result. So my remote server is working here, so when I press this button, it will send my request to the server, and that server would actually process the image, and it will send me back an image. So you can see it's interesting because it's resembling the input that I sent, but it's also adding some more features to it, right? So it depends on the power of these parameters. So you can lower the strength of the input image or try to make it as strict as possible, but you can also input some other prompts. So I'm going to show you some examples of how to work with this tool, but let's run a few more tests. And you can see it's generating kind of generic text, but also trying to place some furniture. Maybe this is a bathroom, some doors. So it's trying to guess the kind of inner space of this architectural drawing. But if you want to test something else, you can actually go on to StableDiffusionWeb.com prompts and find an image that you like and copy its prompt. So for instance, let's say we want to generate a drawing in the style, right? You can, it's pretty much detailed because it's also high resolution. But let's say that we want to copy this. So I'm going to copy this prompt from here, come back here and paste it, and maybe add a few more keywords like hammam or traditional. And I'm going to press here and see if it's going to do a good job of translating it into a different stylistic image. So there we go. We got kind of thicker walls, some Ottoman decoration. It's kind of hard to say that it's a plan drawing, but there's kind of a scale here and maybe some entrances or stairways to some space. Which is pretty interesting. So in terms of a visual style, it's able to basically use the input that we give it and turn it into a drawing. So here's another one. So it's kind of interpreting the walls as really thick. So let's do another example. I'm going to go back. Maybe we do a black and white plan drawing. So I'm looking at some examples here, but let's try this one, for instance. Floor plan of a residential building. Actually, this is what I've done. Let's try this, maybe like a blueprint type of drawing. So this one, shop drawing, building 2, floor plan. Well, maybe the next one, shop 2 drawing. There's another one here. These are shop drawings. What about this one? Build a modern building from image plan. Well, it's in Spanish actually. Let's go down. Maybe we can, there will be building plan architecture, so we can actually search in the images for effective prompts that we could use. So this one is also interesting. Cyberpunk space station top view, rooms large. Okay, let's try that one. So I'm gonna go back here, paste that prompt, and it's going to use this kind of a mask. So we are trying to stylize that drawing. And I got something like this. So it's more, has kind of a visual perspectival depth, and colors are definitely kind of futuristic. So the cool thing about this is, well, I got a completely different image. So it's recognized these borders, boundaries, but it's kind of extending it here. Maybe we increase the strength of the input image. And one cool aspect of this is you can actually create different types of masks. For instance, if I switch to another type of region, I can input this as my input now, and press here, and now that will be able to that will be a new input image. So let's see if I got kind of an error, but maybe it generated an image that already exists. So there you go, we got something completely different, but it's recognizing that boundary as a region, right? So it's trying to override it with some features. I think this one might have been interesting with the Ottoman style, but here you go. There's like kind of something else happening here. It's kind of hard to guess if this is a wall and what's happening on the floor plan, and probably this is not being interpreted as a building plan. So you have to find or test some of these to see if they will be effective. But let's keep looking if there's another example we could try, maybe something like this. So this one has a lot of there we go. So the house plan with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, outside stairs. So let's try this one. So I'm going to input it, and of course by looking at the resulting image you can keep customizing the input, or depending on type of effects you get in the output, you can actually take them out with the negative prompt. But there you go. It's pretty interesting, no? So you get kind of this boundary with the walls, and these could be interpreted like bedrooms even. So it's recognizing some features of the input, and it's trying to distribute some architectural elements in the remaining space. And this seems like it's trying to write like a keeper or a kitchen, showroom. So the input is basically you can control now this type of plan generation or any type of stylistic generation with a custom input. So these could be used. Well, I got another one, but let's see if this one I'm going to trigger again. I'm trying to update the input. And let's try running this one more time. Well, this is not doing a good job because I think these spaces are disconnected. So I think it works better when you have a figure ground relationship. So there is a direct contrast in the image. Well, and there's no connection here, so it's trying to give them as isolated rooms. Well, this is completely different. So now it took these as kind of spaces inside of a larger plan. So again, this could be interpreted in many different ways, right? So the plan could be on the green and these could be voids, or vice versa. But here there's a clear figure ground relationship, so there's some contrast that it needs to infill. All of these could be explored further, but you can try using this tool now to be able to customize the input and use the prompt to stylize the image generation. And for this one I tried to do 2-dimensional plan drawings, but probably you can do it for other things. So give it a try, and let's see if you can generate some effective drawings. And in the next session, I'm going to cover how you can actually generate these types of drawings using parametric modeling tools. So we will be looking at some grasshopper functions where you can actually generate automated images like this that could be directly fed into Stable Diffusion. So I'll see you in the next video.